Now coming to next protocol, that is I2C protocol, right? Now in previous lecture we have seen RS-232 protocol and SPI protocol, right? Now along with this RS-232 and SPI protocol, now in this lecture we will see about I2C protocol, right? Now all these are your serial communication protocols, right? Now whatever we have discussed till now, under first we have discussed RS-232. After that we have seen SPI protocol. Now we will see about I2C protocol, right? Now all these three are your serial communication protocols only, or whatever the protocols that we have seen till now, right? Firstly we have seen RS-232, then we have seen SPI protocol, now we will see I2C protocol, right? Now all these three are your serial communication protocols, right? Now that means these protocols are used for the serial communication between the transmitter and receiver, right? You know what is meant by serial communication, right? That is you are transferring bit by bit, right? If you are transferring all the data at a time, that we call it as parallel communication. Parallelly if you are transmitting the data, that comes under your parallel communication. Now coming to serial communication, in this communication you will transfer bit by bit, right? You will transfer bit by bit between your transmitter and receiver, right? Now RS-232, SPI and I2C are your serial communication protocols. That means these three protocols will support serial communication between your transmitter and receiver. Nothing but you are transmitting bit by bit between your transmitter and receiver, right? Now coming to I2C. Now the abbreviation of I2C is inter-integrated circuit, right? Abbreviation of I2C is inter-integrated circuit, right? I2C stands for inter-integrated circuit. Now as I have said, this supports serial communication, right? I2C protocol is supporting serial communication. Now under serial communication, this will support synchronous. Under serial communication, this will support synchronous communication. That means you have to maintain synchronization between your transmitter and receiver, right? Whatever the clock that you are feeding for the transmitter, the same clock should be supplied to your receiver also, right? Now that means transmitter and receiver should be under synchronization, under synchronous communication, right? Now I2C stands for inter-integrated circuit, right? Now this supports serial communication. Under serial communication, this supports synchronous communication, right? Now this I2C is intra communication system, right? This I2C is intra communication system. That means using this protocol, I2C protocol, you can communicate data between system to system, nothing but transmitter to receiver within the board only. That means you will use Arduino board, right? You will use Arduino board. If you are within the board, if you are transmitting, if you have two devices within the board, now using this I2C protocol, you can transmit data between these two devices on the board, right? Short distance, right? Using I2C protocol, you can communicate your transmitter and receiver within very short distance. That means intra communication system. That means you are transmitting data between two devices, nothing but transmitter and receiver on the board itself only. That means very short distance is maintained between your transmitter and receiver, you know, within the communication system only. That means within the board only, right? Now this was the introduction for your I2C protocol, right, which is a serial communication protocol, right? I2C protocol is a serial communication protocol. Under serial communication, this is of synchronous type. That means you have to maintain synchronization between transmitter and receiver, right? Now whatever the clock you are feeding for the transmitter, that clock frequency should be same for the receiver also. Nothing but the same clock that has to give it to the receiver, right? Now this supports serial communication, and this is an intra-communication system. I2C protocol is an intra-communication system because you are communicating your transmitter and receiver within the system only. That's why it is called intra-communication system, right? Now let us see its working of I2C protocol, right? Now coming to I2C protocol, now this will follow master-slave relationship. This particular I2C protocol will follow master-slave relationship, right? Now we have master, right? You have master, and next you will have slave, right? Now you have to communicate. Let me write, this is your master and this is your slave, right? Now master has to get communicated with the slave, right? Now using this I2C protocol, nothing but we call it as I2C bus, right? Now using this bus we are communicating master with the slave, right? I2C protocol is responsible for communicating master with the slave, right? Now here you will have only two lines, two signals are used, two signals are there for communicating your master with the slave, right? Now communication between master and slave is achieved by I2C bus, right? Now I2C bus is defined by two physical lines. Let me write here, first one is SDA, right? I2C bus is defined by the two lines, two physical lines, or two lines or two wires we can call it as, right? One is SDA, right? Now one is SDA, and next one we have SCL, right? Now these two are the physical lines, right? SDA and SCL are the physical lines that is defined by the I2C bus. That means I2C bus is defined by the two physical lines or the two physical wires, we can call it as, one is SDA and another one is SCL, right? Now SDA is bidirectional, and SCL is unidirectional. SDA is bidirectional and SCL is unidirectional, right? Now let us see the physical lines one by one. Now coming to SDA, now this stands for serial data, right? SDA stands for serial data, right? Now I will write here, coming to next physical line, that is SCL. This stands for serial clock, right? SDA is serial data which is bidirectional in nature, and SCL is serial clock which is unidirectional in nature, right? One physical line is bidirectional, that is SDA, and one physical line is unidirectional, that is serial clock, right? Now the operation of this SDA line, let us see the operation of this SDA line. Now this SDA line is used to read or write the data, nothing but transmitting or receiving the data, right? Now this SDA line is responsible for reading or writing the data between master and slave, right? Between master and slave, reading or nothing but transmitting and receiving, right? In microprocessor language we call it as reading or writing the data, right? Now this SDA line, physical line, is responsible for reading or writing the data between master and slave, right? Now coming to serial clock, right? Now coming to serial clock, now master will generate clock signal, right? Master will generate clock signal. Now that clock signal is carried to the slave by this physical line, serial clock line, right? Now what will happen, master will generate a internal clock signal, right? Now that clock signal is carried to the slave through SCL. SCL is the physical line that is responsible for carrying the clock signal from master to slave, right? Now these are the operations of your SDA and SCL, right? Now since we have only two lines, right? I2C bus is defined by the two physical lines, one is SDA and SCL. Now this I2C protocol is also called as two-wide interface. I2C protocol or two-wide interface, both are same, right? I2C protocol is also called as two-wide interface. In shortcut we defined as TWI, right? Now coming to SPI, that is four-wide interface, right? Now I2C protocol is also defined as two-wide interface because it is containing only two physical lines, one is SDA and another one is SCL, right? Now let us see the responsibilities of the master, right? Master along with the slave, right? Now what master will do, it will generate the clock signal, right? Now the first responsibility of the master is to generate the clock signal. Now that clock signal is transferred from master to slave using SCL physical line. Now, right, this is the first responsibility of the master, that is to generate the clock signal, right? And next responsibility of the master is initiation or termination. Initiation as well as termination, right? Initiation as well as termination of communication, right? Initiation and termination of the communication is done by the master, right? These two are the responsibility of the master. First one is it has to generate the clock signal. Now that clock signal is carried from master to slave using SCL physical line. And coming to next responsibility of the master, whatever the communication that is occurring between your master and slave, now that initiation of communication and also termination of communication is the responsibility of the master, right? Now these are the two responsibility of the master. Now coming to slave responsibilities. Now let us see the responsibilities of the slave, right? Now the first and foremost responsibility of the slave is to follow the master, right? Whatever the master is giving guidelines, that guidelines has to be followed by the slave, right? Now the main responsibility of the slave is to follow the master, right? Whatever it is giving guidelines or any signals or according to that it has to behave, right? Now the first and foremost responsibility of the slave is to follow the master, right? Now coming to next responsibility, right? It will monitor the state of SCL. Monitor the state of SCL, nothing but clock signal, right? Clock signal state is monitored by the slave and SDA line also, right? Once those are generated from the master, right, those monitoring is done by the slave, right? These are the responsibilities of the slave and master, right? Now let me briefly explain again, right? Now I2C stands for inter-integrated circuit, right? Now this supports serial communication. Since it is a serial communication protocol, I2C, SPI, RS-232, all these are your serial communication protocol. Now I2C stands for inter-integrated circuit, right? Under serial communication, this is of synchronous type. That means synchronization should be maintained between the transmitter and receiver, right? Now this is the intra-communication system, right? Intra is nothing but within, right? That means you have to communicate between two devices within very short distance, right? Intra is nothing but within the system you are communicating between two devices, right? Now coming to its working, now this follows the relationship of master and slave. I2C protocol will follow the relationship of master and slave, right? Now we have master device and you have slave device, right? Master is nothing but your microcontroller, right? Now slave, you can consider any device that you want to communicate with the master, right? Now this follow master and slave relationship, right? Now we have master device and another one is slave device, right? Now the communication between master and slave is achieved by the I2C bus, nothing but I2C protocol. I2C protocol and I2C bus both are same, right? Now this follows the master and slave relationship, and the communication between master and slave is achieved by the I2C bus, right? Now this I2C bus is defined by the two physical lines or two physical wires, we can call it, right? Now this I2C bus is defined by the two physical lines, right? This I2C bus, which is responsible for communication between the master and slave. Now this I2C bus is defined by the two physical lines. One is SDA and another one is SCA, right? Now SDA is bidirectional in nature, right? SDA is bidirectional in nature. This is SDA physical line, and another physical line is SCL, which is unidirectional in nature, right? SDA is bidirectional and SCL is unidirectional, right? Now SDA stands for serial data and SCL stands for serial clock, right? Now SDA is responsible for reading or writing the data between master and slave. That means transmitting or receiving the data, right? Now for the communication, now you have to transmit the data as well as you have to receive the data, right? Now this SDA is responsible for reading or writing the data, right? Reading or writing the data between master and slave. Now coming to SCL, this stands for serial clock, right? Now master will generate the clock signal. Now that clock signal is carried from master to slave using the physical line SCL. That means SCL is responsible for carrying the clock signal between master and slave, right? Now the responsibility of the master, the first and foremost responsibility of the master is to generate the clock signal, because master and slave should be under synchronized. Since it is supporting synchronous communication, master and slave should be under synchronous, right? Master and slave should be under synchronization, right? Whatever the clock that you are giving to the master, the same clock should be given to the slave, right? Now the first and foremost the first and foremost responsibility of the master is to generate the clock signal. Now that clock signal is carried from master to slave using SCL physical line, right? Now coming to next responsibility. Now the total responsibility, the total communication, that whether it is initiation of the communication as well as termination of the communication, the total responsibility of the communication is carried by the master. That means initiation of the communication or termination of the communication is carried by the master, right? Now coming to the responsibility of the slave, whatever the guidelines that are released by the master, that means signals, it can generate the signals. According to that signal, slave has to do its operation. That means the first and foremost responsibility of the slave is to follow the master. Blindly it has to follow the master, right? Now once the SDA signal and SCL signal are generated from the master, the monitoring of those signals is done by the slave, right? Now these are the responsibilities of the slave and master, right? Now we have seen master with single slave, right? Till now we have seen master with single slave. Now that slave can be any number, right? Now that slave can be any number. Now let us see master with 3 slaves, right? Let us see master with 3 slaves, right? And the communication between master with 3 slaves is achieved by the I2C bus, right? Now this, you have only one master, and this is your slave 1, and next you have slave 2, and next you have slave 3, right? Now till now we have seen a single master with single slave, right? Now here we will see a single master with with 3 slaves we will see now, but the 3 can be any number, right? Now what are the 2 signals, 2 wires we have? One is SDA, right? Now this SDA is bidirectional in nature, right? This SDA is bidirectional in nature, right? Now this is your SDA physical line that is connected to slave 1, slave 2 and slave 3, which is bidirectional in nature, right? And next physical line is nothing but SCL, right? SCL, nothing but serial clock. Now this is unidirectional in nature. Serial clock is unidirectional in nature, right? Now at a time you can't communicate all the slaves with the master, right? Only one slave can communicate with the master, as we have seen under SPI protocol. Now the same scenario is followed here also, right? Now here you have 3 slaves. Now the 3 slaves can't communicate at a time with the master. Only one slave can communicate with the master, right? One slave can communicate with the master. Now coming to SPI, there we have chip selection signal, right? Coming to SPI, there we have chip selection signal. Now using that chip selection signal, a particular slave is selected and that is communicated with the master, right? Now here we don't have any chip selection signal, right? Here we don't have any chip selection signal. Now how to select a particular slave among 3 slaves? How to select a particular slave? Now that can be communicated with the master, right? Now how it is possible? Here we will have addresses, right? Here we will have addresses, whereas SPI protocol, there we have chip selection signal. Based on the chip selection signal, a particular slave is selected, and that can be communicated with the master, right? Now coming to I2C protocol, here we don't have any chip selection signal. We have only two signals. One is for reading or writing the data, that is SDA, and another one is SCL, in order to maintain synchronization between master and slave, right? Now here we don't have any chip selection signal. Now here you will have addresses, right? There you have chip selection. Now here you will have addresses for the slave, right? Now the master will communicate with the particular slave by unique slave address, right? Now whatever this master will communicate with a particular slave by unique slave address. By unique slave address, the master is going to communicate with the particular slave, right? Now this unique slave address is generated by the manufacturer, right? This unique slave address is generated by the manufacturer, right? Now what is the difference between SPI and I2C? And there you have chip selection signal. Using that signal you can select a particular slave, and that can be communicated with the master, right? Now coming to I2C protocol, now master is going to select a particular slave by unique slave address, right? Now by using this unique slave address, master will select a particular slave, and that can be communicated with the master, right? Now this unique slave address is generated by the manufacturer, right? Now generally this slave address is 7-bit or 10-bit. Generally the slave address is of 7-bit or 10-bit. Now if the slave address is 7-bit, that means 2 power 7 slaves can be connected to master, right? 2 power 7 slaves can be connected to master. If the slave address is 10-bit, 2 power 10 slaves can be connected to master, right? 2 power 10 slaves can be connected to master, right? Now this is how to select a particular slave using unique slave address, right? Unique slave address. Generally the slave address will be 7-bit only. Generally 7-bit slave address is preferred than 10-bit, right? Only in some cases 10-bit slave address is preferred, right? Now this is about how to select a particular slave, and that to communicate with the master, right? If it is of 7-bit, 2 power 7 slaves can be connected to the master. If it is 10-bit, 2 power 10 slaves can be connected to the master. Generally the slave address will be 7-bit, right? Now coming to baud rate. What is baud rate? Number of bits transferred per second, right? Baud rate is nothing but number of bits transferred per second, right? That means here we will see the how many bits can be transferred between the master and slave per a single second, right? Now this I2C protocol operates in 4 different modes. One is standard mode, and next one is fast mode, and next one is high speed mode, and next one is ultra fast mode, right? Now these are categorized based on the number of bits that you are transmitting between the master and slave, right? Now if it is under standard mode, you can transfer only 100 kilobits per second, right? 100 kilobits per second only you can transfer under standard mode, right? If it is under fast mode, 400 kilobits per second. 400 kilobits per second are transferred for a single second, right? Now coming to high speed mode, 3.4 mega bits per second. That means 3.4 megabits are transferred between master and slave operating under high speed mode, right? Now coming to ultra fast mode, 5 megabits per second. 5 megabits are transferred between your master and slave if it is working under ultra fast mode, right? Now this is about the baud rate of I2C inter-integrated circuit protocol, right? Now let me briefly explain. Now till now we have seen a master with single slave, right? Communicating master with single slave. Now this is the structure of communication of master with n number of slaves. Now here n is 3, right? Here n is 3, right? Now here you have, now you can, from the figure we can say that 3 slaves are going to communicate with the master, right? Now at a time all the 3 slaves can't be communicate with the master, right? At a time all the 3 slaves can't communicate with the master, right? Only single slave, particularly only single slave can communicate with the master, right? Now that single slave selection is done by the, right, that single slave selection is done by the master, right? Now master will communicate with the particular slave, right? Master will communicate with the particular slave using unique slave address, right? Using unique slave address, right? Now here from the figure we have 3 slaves and a single master. Now the 3 slaves can't communicate at a time with the master. At a time you can't communicate 3 slaves with the master. Only 1 slave can communicate with the master, right? Now the master has to select a particular slave by the unique slave address, right? Now the master will communicate with the particular slave by the unique slave address. Now this slave address is generated by the manufacturer, right? Now generally this slave address is of 7 bit or 10 bit. If it is of 7 bit, 2 power 7 slaves can be connected to the master. If it is of 10 bit, 2 power 10 slaves can be connected to the master, right? Generally the slave address will be 7, right? Now coming to the baud rate. Baud rate is nothing but number of bits transferred per single second, right? Now this I2C protocol based on the bits transmitting between the master and slave, it is categorized into 4 modes. One is standard mode, fast mode, high speed mode, ultra fast mode, right? Now coming to the standard mode, if it is operating under standard mode, it can transfer only 100 kilobits per second, right? Now if it is operating under fast mode, it can transfer only 400 kilobits per second, right? Now coming to high speed mode, if it is operating under high speed mode, it can transfer only 3.4 megabits per second, right? Now if it is operating under ultra fast mode, it can transfer only 5 megabits per second, right? Now this is about the baud rates. This is about the baud rates of I2C protocol, right? Now next we will see about the data frame structure, right? Next we will see about the data frame structure, right? First let me draw its data frame structure, right? First we will have start, and next we will have 7 or 10 bit slave address, right? Slave address for the selection of particular slave, right? And next you have read or write bit for reading or writing the data. And next you will have acknowledgement signal, right? Next you will have acknowledgement signal, or we can say acknowledgement bit, since it is bit, either it may be 0 or 1, right? And next you have 8 bits that you want to transfer between your master and slave. And next you will have acknowledgement bit, right? And next you will have 8 bits, and next you will have acknowledgement bit, right? Next you will have acknowledgement bit, and then you will have stop bit, right? Then you will have stop bit, right? Now this is the frame structure of I2C protocol, right? First one is start, right? Now the communication is started by the start bit, right? Communication is started by the start bit, right? Next you have 7 or 10 bit. Now this is the slave address, slave address that is responsible for selecting a particular slave from n number of slaves, right? Now this is the slave address. First bit is start bit. Now that is responsible for starting the communication. Next we have 7 or 10 bit. Now that is the slave address that is responsible for selecting a particular slave, right? Unique slave address, right? And next we have read or write bit. Now if it is 0, write operation. If it is 0, write operation. If it is 1, read operation, right? Now this along with slave address we will send read or write bit, right? Along this slave address we will send read or write bit. If it is 0, write operation. If it is 1, read operation, right? If it is 1, read operation, right? Now once the slave address, right? Now the unique slave address is transferred, right? Now what it will do next? Now that slave address should be matched with the slave addresses of the slaves that is connected to the master, right? That means you have master and you have n number of slave 1, slave 2, slave 3, slave 4, assume, right? Now the slave address is transferred. Let us assume 1001. I am considering only 7 bit, right? Now this is the slave address that is transferred here, right? Now this has to match with the slave address. Now here this is now 100100 is the slave address of slave 1, right? And next slave 2 100101 is the slave address 10010001. This is the slave address of slave 2. Now coming to slave 3 10011110, and coming to slave 4 1001 011, right? Now these are the slave addresses of the 4 slaves that has been communicated, that means that want to communicate with the master, right? Now whatever the slave address is transferred through the data frame structure, now that has to match with the slave address. Now here the slave address has been matched, right? Now once the matching of the slave address is done, now what happens? This particular slave has been selected for communication with the master, right? This particular slave has been selected for communication with the master. Once the matching of the slave addresses is done, now the acknowledgement signal is generated. Once the matching is done, this may be 1 or 0, right? Once the matching is done, that means whatever the slave address that has been transferred through this, now that slave address is matched with the slave address of the slave. Once the matching is done, then the acknowledgement signal is generated. Now what it indicates? The slave matching address is done, right? Now the address matching is done, right? And next, once the matching is done, now this particular slave can communicate with the master, right? Next 8 bits of data, depending on the read operation or write operation, 8 bits of data are communicated between the slave and master, right? Now once the total 8 bits are received, one acknowledgement bit is transferred. That means total 8 bits are received. That shows that total 8 bits are received, right? And next another 8 bits are transferred, right? Another 8 bits are transferred between the slave and the master. And once this total 8 bits are transferred, acknowledgement bit. This process continues till the total data is transferred between your master and slave, right? Now once the total data has been transferred between master and slave, now stop bit is generated. That indicates stop of communication, right? Now this is the data frame structure of I2C protocol, right? Now let me briefly explain again. Start. Now this bit is responsible for starting of communication, right? Start bit is responsible for start of communication. And next we have 7 or 10 bit. This is the slave address, right? This is the slave address that is responsible for selecting a particular slave among n number of slaves. 7 or 10 bit is the slave address that is responsible for selecting a particular slave among n number of slaves, right? And next you have read or write operation. 0 indicates write operation and 1 indicates read operation. Writing the data in reading the data, right? And next we have acknowledgement bit, right? Acknowledgement bit. Now the slave address is passed here, 7 or 10 bit, the slave address is passed here, right? Now here you have a master, and next you have slave 1, slave 2, slave 3, slave 4, right? Now you have transmitted 7-bit slave address as this one, right? Now this slave address, it will check with the address of n slaves that has been connected to the master, right? Now this is the 7-bit slave address is given over here. Now this slave, it will compare with the slave address of slave 1, next it will compare with the slave address of slave 2, and next it will compare with the slave address of slave 3, and next it will compare with the slave address of slave 1. That means matching has to be done, right? Now let us assume slave 2 is having the slave address as same, right? Now once the matching is done, acknowledgement bit is generated. That means we have found slave signal for communication with the master. That information is given by the acknowledgement bit, right? Now what information it gives? We have done the matching of slave, right? We have found out the slave, right? We have found out the slave with the same slave address, and that slave is responsible for communicating with the master, right? Now the 7-bit address is generated, right, is passed over here. Now that 7-bit address is compared with the addresses of the slave. That means matching has to be done. Once the matching has to be done, now that slave has to be communicate with the master for reading or writing the data, right? Now this acknowledgement bit, right, this acknowledgement bit gives the information that matching of slave address is done, and that particular slave is to communicate with the master, right? Now once the matching has been done, acknowledgement signal is generated, indicating what it indicates, matching of slave address is done, and that slave has to be communicate with the master for reading or writing the data, right? And next 8 bits, whatever the data that you want to read or write, for reading or writing the data, that data is carried over here. This 8 bits of data is the data that is used for transferring or receiving between, nothing but reading or writing between master and slave, right? Now once these total 8 bits are transferred or received between the master and slave, acknowledgement bit is generated. Now what it gives information, the total 8 bits are communicated between the master and slave, and another 8 bits can be transmitted, right? And once these total 8 bits are transmitted, right, and once acknowledgement bit is received, now that indicates that total 8 bits are communicated between master and slave. Once the total data has been transferred between master and slave, that means communicated between master and slave, stop bit is formed, right? Now what it indicates? Stop of communication, right? Now let us assume you have 26. Now let us assume you have 26 bits. Now these bits has to get transferred between master and slave, right? Now you can't transfer 26 bits. This has to divide into 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, and again 2 bits. Total, this has to divide into frames, 8-bit frames, right? 8 bit, 8 bit, 8 bit. First this gets transferred, and again acknowledgement bit is generated, indicating that 8 bits has been completed. Next these 8 bits are transmitted, next acknowledgement bit is generated, indicating that 8 bits are transferred, right? Next this 8 acknowledgement signal, next last 2 acknowledgement signal. What acknowledgement signal gives information? It gives information that total 8 bits have been communicated between master and slave, right? Now this is about I2C protocol. Now let us see the advantages of I2C protocol, right? Now it uses only 2 whiles. Coming to first advantages, only 2 bytes. What are those 2 bytes? One is SDA serial data, and another one is SCL, nothing but serial clock, right? The first advantage of I2C protocol is it uses only 2 bytes, right? Now coming to second advantage, it supports multiple masters and multiple slaves. Multiple masters and multiple slaves. The second advantage of I2C protocol is it supports multiple masters and multiple slaves, right? Now coming to third advantage, reduce number of pins. It has only less number of pins. We have only 2 pin, that is one is SDA and another one is SCA, right? And coming to next one, acknowledgement bit, ACK bit, nothing but acknowledgement bit gives confirmation. Acknowledgement bit gives confirmation. For every 8 bit of frame structure we have acknowledgement bit, right? Now that acknowledgement bit gives information that each frame, nothing but 8 bit of data, each frame transferred successfully, right? Each frame transferred successfully. For after every 8 bit of data you have one acknowledgement bit. Now that bit gives confirmation that the total 8 bits are transferred successfully, right? Now these are the advantages of I2C protocol. Now coming to disadvantages, let us see the disadvantage of I2C protocol, right? So, slow transmission speed, right? Slow transmission speed, which is one main disadvantage of I2C protocol. The transmission speed is very slow, right? Now coming to next disadvantage, size of data is limited to 8 bits only. You can see, as I have said, only 8 bits can be transferred at a time, right? The size of data is limited to 8 bits, right? Now these are the advantages and disadvantages of I2C protocol, right? Now let me explain again. Now coming to advantages, it has only two lines, nothing but SDA, serial data, and serial clock, right? It has only 2 ones, right? Now coming to next advantage, it supports multiple masters and multiple slaves, right? This I2C protocol will support multiple masters and multiple slaves, right? Now as it is having only 2 bytes, right? 2 bytes, one is SDA and SCL. Now hence reduced number of pins, right? Now for after every 8 bits you have one acknowledgement bit, right? You can see under the data frame structure, after every 8 bits you have one acknowledgement bit, right? Now that acknowledgement bit gives the information that each 8 bit data is transferred successfully, right? For every 8 bit, after every 8 bits you have one acknowledgement bit. Now that will give the information that these 8 bits have been transferred successfully. Now coming to the disadvantages, the transmission speed is very low, right? Now coming to next disadvantage, the size of the data is limited to 8 bit only. The size of the data is limited to 8 bit only, right? Now these are the disadvantages of I2C protocol, right? Now these are the, we have behind this you have few more serial communication protocols also, but in your syllabus you have only these 3. One is RS-232 SPI, right? A serial peripheral interface, and that is next one is I2C inter-integrated circuit. All these are your serial communication protocol that supports serial communication between your transmitter and receiver, right? In the next lecture we will see about interfacing of Arduino with Bluetooth, right? Interfacing of Arduino with Bluetooth and Zigbee, right? Thank you.